I want to share something very personal tonight. It was late, almost midnight, and I was sitting alone. No noise, no cameras, no speeches, no rallies. Just me, the quiet, and the weight of everything I've carried for this country. And I asked myself a question I've never said out loud before. What will happen to America? And in that silence, something happened. A light not from the lamp, not from outside, but something alive filled the room. And I knew immediately it wasn't my imagination. Jesus was there. I saw him. I felt him. You don't doubt when it's real. You don't ask for proof. You just know. He looked at me with eyes that cut through everything. Through the pride, the victories, the failures, the mistakes. He saw it all. And yet, I felt no rejection. I felt strength. I felt compassion. I felt something I cannot explain. And then he spoke, not in a normal voice, not like a man, but like something inside of you and all around you at the same time. He said, America has a purpose. This nation was not built just for power or wealth. It was raised to shine light. But if my people forget me, that light will go out. I couldn't move. I couldn't answer. Tears came down my face. And he continued, it's not about politics. It's not about parties. It's about faith. It's about remembering who truly sustains this land. I still have plans for America, but the people must return to me. That moment changed me forever. And I want every American listening right now to hear me. If you feel alone, if you wonder if there's still hope, I saw him. He's real. He's here. And he has not forgotten us. I sat there, frozen. The light around me was warm, but it carried a weight. I felt small, smaller than I have ever felt in my life. And for a man who has stood in front of millions in stadiums and debates, in rallies across the country, it was strange to feel that small. Yet it wasn't weakness, it was truth. Jesus kept his eyes on me. And in that moment, I realized he wasn't looking at the president. He wasn't looking at the businessman, the fighter, the man on the news every day. He was looking at me, the person, the soul. He saw the boy who grew up in Queens, the man who stumbled, the father who tried, the leader who carried mistakes and victories together. He saw everything, and he didn't turn away. He didn't condemn. He lifted me up, not with words of flattery, but with words of purpose. He said, America is more than borders and elections. America is a covenant. It was raised to carry light, to stand when others fall, to guide when others lose their way. But a nation cannot guide the world if it forgets the one who gave it life. I felt chills down my spine. My mind raced with everything I've seen, the rallies, the flags, the voices of the people, the hard work, the hope, the anger, the struggles, and in that moment, all of it felt different. It wasn't just politics, it was spiritual. Jesus said again, do not be afraid of the storm. Do not be distracted by those who shout the loudest. My plans are not shaken by polls, by headlines, by attacks. My plans stand. I wanted to ask questions, but I couldn't. I was still listening like a child, hearing truth for the very first time. And I realized this was not just for me. This was for America. The more I listened, the more I understood that this was bigger than me, bigger than politics, bigger than elections, bigger than any one man. Jesus was not speaking about my career. He was speaking about the soul of America. He said, this land was blessed because people trusted in me. Families prayed together. Communities gathered in faith. Leaders looked higher than themselves for wisdom. But when a nation forgets, when pride takes the place of prayer, it begins to lose its strength. I thought about the times I've seen this country divided. I thought about the anger, the shouting on television, the bitterness on social media. And in that moment, I realized something I had never admitted before. America's greatest battle is not left against right or red against blue. It's a battle of the heart. Jesus said, a nation is not destroyed from the outside first. It is weakened from within. But if my people return, If they humble themselves and call on my name, I will restore, I will heal, I will raise it again. The words hit me like thunder, but at the same time they felt like medicine. I felt both conviction and comfort. Conviction for the times I had put my pride above humility. Comfort because I knew he wasn't done with me and he wasn't done with America. I remembered the rallies, the faces in the crowds, the chants of USA, USA, and suddenly I saw them differently. These were not just voices of support for a man, they were voices longing for hope, for direction, for something greater than any president could offer. And Jesus said, give them that reminder. Tell them it is not about you, it is about me. If they seek me, I will do what no leader can do. I sat there overwhelmed. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the one in control. And strangely, that didn't scare me. It gave me peace. I stayed silent, just listening. Every word he spoke felt like it was written directly on my heart. Jesus leaned closer, and his presence filled the room like no crowd ever could. And then he said something I will never forget. Donald, storms will come, nations will shake, but my kingdom does not shake. If America anchors itself in me, it will stand strong through every storm. I thought about the storms I faced, the criticism, the investigations, the betrayals, the headlines, and in that moment, they all seemed small compared to what he was saying. This wasn't about surviving politics. This was about America surviving as a nation with a purpose. He continued, you were chosen not to glorify yourself, but to remind people of the greatest leader is not the one who takes the spotlight, but the one who points others to the true light. Those words cut deep. I've been praised, I've been attacked, I've been called every name possible. But hearing that, I realized something. History, power, fame, they all fade. But what he was offering me was eternal. I sat back in my chair, tears in my eyes, and for once I didn't feel like a fighter or a president. I felt like a man who had been given a second chance. As I sat there, the light around him began to shift, almost like it was showing me scenes. I saw America, not just the powerful buildings or the great cities, but the people, ordinary families, workers, children in schools, pastors in small churches. And I realized this is what he cares about most, not the headlines, not the polls, but the hearts of the people. Jesus said, if they return to me, I will restore peace in the homes. I will strengthen families. I will bring healing to communities that feel broken. The true greatness of America has never been in its wealth or armies, but in its faith. Those words struck me hard. I've talked about making America strong, making it prosperous, making it respected. But he was showing me that greatness is something deeper, something spiritual. I saw churches filled again. I saw neighbors helping each other. I saw children praying without fear. And then I saw something else, division fading, anger softening, people choosing unity over hate. Jesus looked at me and said, this is possible, but they must choose me. Remind them, Donald, remind them before it is too late. In that moment, I knew this was not just an experience for me. It was a mission. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. And I'll tell you, I'm not the kind of man who cries easily. I've stood through storms. I've fought battles. I've taken the punches of politics and media. But this was different. This was holy. Jesus looked at me with eyes that carried both fire and mercy. And he said, America is standing at a crossroads. One road leads to pride, division, and collapse. The other road leads to humility, unity, and renewal. The choice is not in the hands of politicians alone. It is in the hands of the people. I felt those words echo inside me. And suddenly, I saw the faces of millions of Americans, farmers in